You may not even realize which habits are silently blocking your financial success. Today, we will uncover the hidden obstacles standing between you and true wealth. These simple yet powerful changes can completely transform your path. Are you ready to realize what's holding you back? Watch until the end. This could be the moment you unlock a new level of life, time. It moves in a way that feels both endless and fleeting. You may feel the pull of tomorrow, the illusion that there's always later. But let me tell you this, later is a mirage. It doesn't exist. It is a trap that makes the present moment feel infinite, as if there's always time to make the change, to act, to seize the opportunity. But by the time you realize it, everything has shifted. And what you thought would come tomorrow, the wealth, the freedom, the success, stays just out of reach. Mark Aurelius once said, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. It's not a dark, fatalistic thought. Rather, it's a call to presence, to living with urgency. We all have a finite amount of time. The moment you realize that is the moment when procrastination loses its power over you. It has no right to claim your life. You see, the wealthy, the truly wealthy, not just in terms of money, but in spirit and in life, they don't wait. They understand that acting in the present moment is the only way to bridge the gap between who they are and who they want to be. Every time you delay, you choose the future over the now. And the future will never give you what you desire unless you start moving towards it today. When you procrastinate, you are saying no to the opportunities that life hands you. Every single moment you waste, you become a slave to your own hesitation. Think about it. You can stand at the edge of a cliff, staring at the horizon, dreaming of a new world. But unless you take the step, nothing changes. You will remain standing, rooted to the spot, waiting for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment never arrives. Nietzsche told us, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why, your financial freedom, your success, is your anchor, your reason to move. And that reason is calling you now, not later. The future is not a place that waits for you. It is a result of the actions you take today. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? The perfect moment? The right mood? Stop. It's time to take that first step, even if you don't feel ready, even if you don't feel perfect. Perfect is a lie, a distraction. The world isn't looking for perfection. It's looking for people who act. Those who choose the uncomfortable now over the comfortable never. This is not just about money. It's about power. It's about taking control of your life every single day. It's about facing the uncomfortable truth that your hesitation is the greatest thief of your potential. The moment you choose to act is the moment you step into your power. This isn't just advice. It's a reality that successful people know all too well. They don't wait for the stars to align. They align them themselves. You can do the same. Start today, not tomorrow, now. The illusion of later is one of the most powerful traps we create for ourselves. It whispers to us in moments of hesitation, when we are unsure whether we are ready or equipped. Just wait until tomorrow. Just wait until you feel more confident, more prepared, more perfect. But let me share something with you that many never learn. Tomorrow never comes. It is a mirage. It is the promise of a better moment, a future that will somehow be easier, more favorable. But in truth, tomorrow is just a different now. And if you don't act today, you will never reach it. Marcus Aurelius taught us to confront time as our most precious, finite resource. He said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When you begin to live in the present, with the understanding that your time is limited, that later becomes irrelevant. The only thing that matters is now. You see, the moment you tell yourself, "I'll do it later," you are not merely postponing an action, you are postponing your life. Every second you push your dreams into the future, you push yourself further, away from the life you want to live. And here's the paradox. As you wait, you miss the opportunities that are right in front of you. Every decision you delay is a moment of potential that slips away, never to be recovered. Nietzsche, in his raw and powerful way, wrote, "The future belongs to those who act." It's not the ones who sit back and wait for conditions to be perfect that shape their destiny. It's the ones who act in the face of imperfection. The ones who do not wait for a better time, but who understand that the best time to act is always now. The trap of someday is one of comfort, of avoiding discomfort. But here's the truth. Life does not reward comfort, it rewards action. So long as you remain in the fantasy of later, you remain stuck in a cycle of unfulfilled potential. You build the prison of your own inaction, brick by brick, day after day. The key to breaking out of it is simple. Act. Do it now. Success, wealth, fulfillment, they do not wait for you to be ready. They wait for you to move. They wait for you to commit to the idea that today matters, that this moment is all you have. You may not feel ready. You may not feel perfect. But in the act of doing, in the choice to face discomfort and uncertainty, you open the door to something far greater than what later could ever offer. The path to greatness is paved with the steps you take today. Don't wait for tomorrow. There is no better time than now to start creating the life you've always wanted. And if you don't begin today, you will still be standing in the same place, making the same excuses a year from now. The question is, will you be able to live with that? The allure of instant gratification is one of the most seductive forces in our lives. It's the temptation that whispers to you in the form of a cup of coffee, the promise of a relaxing evening spent in front of a screen, the pull of a momentary pleasure that seems so harmless. It's easy to give in, to let these small indulgences take the lead, because in the immediate moment they feel like rewards, like comfort. But here's a hard truth. These small, fleeting satisfactions are the very things that keep you from your true potential. They are the chains that keep you from greatness. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who understood the power of self-control, reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The ability to resist the urge for instant pleasure is not just about saying no to small things. It is about claiming your sovereignty over your life. Every time you choose to delay that moment of indulgence, you are taking control of your future. You are choosing to act from a place of strength, not weakness. Nietzsche, in his exploration of human will, wrote, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." To give in to instant pleasure is to give away your will to something outside yourself. It is to let fleeting moments dictate your actions, to be a slave to impulses instead of the master of them. The person who cannot control their desire for temporary pleasure is not free, they are controlled by it. True freedom does not come from following the path of least resistance. It comes from the ability to resist, to push through the discomfort, to do what is difficult because you know it will bring you closer to something greater. The person who chooses to forgo the fleeting pleasure of today in favor of long-term effort is the one who unlocks the door to true success. Wealth, both financial and personal, comes not from momentary indulgence, but from the quiet, consistent effort that compounds over time. In a world obsessed with the immediate, it is rare to find those who are willing to sacrifice instant pleasure for long-term gain. But these are the people who will build empires, who will create legacies. They understand that the rewards of today, the indulgence, the escape, are distractions that will never fulfill them in the way that true, hard-earned success can. You must learn to say no to the easy pleasures, to practice the art of delayed gratification. This is not punishment, this is liberation. The more you master your impulses, the more you take command of your destiny. The more you resist the call of the now, the more you pave the way for the life you desire. It is only through the discipline of today that you can unlock the freedom of tomorrow. So the question is not whether you can resist that cup of coffee or that evening of distractions. The question is whether you are willing to sacrifice a fleeting moment of comfort for a life of lasting fulfillment. Only through this choice will you claim the wealth, not just of money, but of life itself, that you are capable of achieving. There is a strange irony in the way we fear risk. We are born with an innate desire for safety, for certainty, and yet it is precisely through embracing the unknown that we shape the life we long for. Fear of failure, like a shadow, follows us wherever we go. It whispers in our ear, urging us to take the safe route, to avoid the unknown, to keep our feet firmly planted on solid ground. But what if I told you that this very fear, this instinct to avoid risk, is the single greatest thing standing between you and the life you want to live? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, believed that we are in charge of our own minds, that our true freedom lies in how we respond to the world around us. And how we respond to risk, to failure, reveals much about our character. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The failures, the obstacles, the moments that seem to threaten our progress, these are not the end, they are the path forward. When you can reframe risk as an opportunity, when you stop seeing failure as something to be feared and start seeing it as a teacher, you will unlock a power that the majority of people will never know. Nietzsche, in his often provocative style, said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful, lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you." This is not just a warning, it is a truth about human nature. Those who avoid risk, who refuse to confront the abyss of failure, do so because they fear what they might become. But by avoiding the risk, they miss the opportunity to grow, to expand, to break free from the confines of their own limitations. Risk is the crucible in which greatness is forged. It is the fire that burns away the doubt, the weakness, the safety of the familiar. Every time you step into the unknown, you take a leap into your potential. You don't know how things will turn out, and that's exactly the point. The greatest achievements in life, the ones that lead to true financial freedom, true personal growth, are never found on the well-trodden paths. They are found in the wilderness, in the places where the ground is uncertain, where you must trust yourself and your ability to navigate without a map. What separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity is their relationship with risk. The ones who succeed don't wait for the perfect moment, the right set of circumstances, or the assurance that everything will work out. They dive in anyway. They trust that even if they fail, they will learn, grow, and get closer to their goals. They know that without risk, there is no breakthrough. Without risk, there is no real progress. So next time you face a choice, a decision that seems risky, uncertain, or even terrifying, remember this: risk is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the very thing that will push you forward, that will force you to evolve, to stretch beyond the limits of what you thought was possible. The fear of failure is not a sign that you should retreat. It is a sign that you are on the edge of something incredible. Embrace risk, not because it is easy, but because it is the only way to break free from the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. Only those who dare to take the leap will ever truly know the freedom and success that come with it. Money. It is a concept that has been marred by both reverence and revulsion. For many, it carries an almost taboo-like weight, an idea we've been taught to view with suspicion as something inherently corrupting. We are often told that money is the root of all evil, that it tarnishes the soul and distorts the human spirit. Yet when we step back and look closely, we realize something profound. Money, in and of itself, is neither good nor evil. It is a tool. It is a reflection of the energy, time, and choices we put into the world. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, said, "The universe is change. Life is opinion. Your opinion of money shapes how it flows into your life, how it becomes either a conduit of opportunity or a barrier to your success. If you see money as something dirty, something that makes you less noble or virtuous, you close the door to its power. You block its ability to work for you, to elevate you, and to empower your purpose. But here's the thing. Money, in its purest form, is not the source of moral decay. It is a neutral tool, a means to an end. Just as a sword can be used for protection or for destruction, so too can money be wielded for growth or for greed. The real issue lies in how we choose to use it, how we let it shape our lives and our actions. Nietzsche, ever the provocateur, would remind us that we cannot fear power in its various forms. The man who fights with monsters should look to it, that he himself does not become a monster. If you equate money with evil, then you are allowing that very fear to control you. You are demonizing the very thing that can amplify your capacity to grow, to help, to reach those lofty goals you've always dreamed of. If you fear money, then you are afraid of your own potential to do good with it. What if we were to shift our perspective? What if we saw money not as a symbol of greed, but as a tool for freedom, for creation, for impact? What if money, rather than being a dirty object of desire, became a force for positive change? When you remove the judgment from money, you allow it to become a resource for everything that matters, from personal growth to aiding others, to creating the life you desire. We all know that the true power lies not in the possession of wealth, but in how you use it. Imagine for a moment the vast number of people you could help, the causes you could champion, the things you could create, all with the tool of money. The wealthy do not sit hoarding their resources, they circulate them. They invest in others, they build, they empower, and in doing so they expand not just their wealth, but their impact on the world. It is time to dismantle the false narrative around money. It is not the villain in your story, nor the hero. It is merely the tool that reflects your inner values and intentions. What you do with it is what matters. The moment you stop fearing it, the moment you see it as a means to an end, a tool for creating the life you want, a means of serving others, a way to manifest your dreams, you unlock the potential to do more than you ever imagined. The truth is, money, when in the right hands, is a force for transformation. It is time to stop seeing it as a dirty thing, to stop allowing society's outdated beliefs to keep you shackled. Instead, open yourself to its true power. Use it wisely, use it well, and watch how it can help you become the person you were always meant to be. Living paycheck to paycheck, it's a trap, a system designed to keep you tethered like a puppet bound by invisible strings, waiting for that next payout to give you the illusion of freedom. But deep within you, beneath the surface of survival, lies a potential that can't be contained within the confines of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Financial dependency on your next salary is not just a practical issue. It's a mental and emotional barrier that keeps you from stepping into the world of abundance. You see, wealth isn't just a result of how much you earn. It's the mindset that governs your relationship with money and the freedom that comes from mastering it. The greatest philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, would tell you that you are not your circumstances, nor are you at the mercy of fate. Instead, you are the master of your mind. It is not external events that shape your life. It is your ability to control your responses to them. Your financial independence starts the moment you recognize that the flow of money is yours to command, not merely a reaction to your next paycheck. Think of the greats who achieved not because they waited for a fortune to fall into their laps, but because they understood that financial freedom is built through action, planning, and most importantly, discipline. You are not a slave to the system. You are the master of your wealth. But the question is, when will you choose to see it? Nietzsche spoke of the will to power, the inherent force that drives you to transcend limitations and reach your highest potential. It's time to take that power, to use it not to chase fleeting pleasure or temporary gains, but to build a sustainable future. The path out of financial dependence requires one thing: to stop living in reaction and to begin acting with intention. It is not about waiting for the next paycheck. It's about strategically shaping your financial life with purpose, control, and foresight. Imagine for a moment if you didn't have to wait for that next paycheck to pay your bills or fund your lifestyle. What would you do with that freedom? The richest individuals do not base their security on a single source of income. They understand the law of diversification. The more streams of income you control, the more resilient you become to the volatility of life. So the question is not how much you make, but what you do with it. Are you in control, or are you simply waiting for the next check to come in? Living paycheck to paycheck is an illusion of security. True security comes from knowing that you've created a financial structure that works for you, not one that keeps you stuck in a cycle of dependency. To break free from this trap is not just about increasing your earnings, but about rewiring your mindset. Learn to manage, invest, and multiply what you have. Create the freedom to choose, not just to survive, but to thrive. This is where real financial independence begins, when you stop letting your paycheck dictate your life and instead make your decisions with the wisdom of a long-term strategy. You are not meant to live in constant pursuit of the next paycheck. You are meant to create a life where money works for you, where freedom is the currency. The shift happens the moment you decide to take responsibility for your financial life, not when the paycheck arrives, but when your mindset shifts to reflect that you are already free. Waiting for the world to give you what you desire, it's a trap, a quiet surrender of your own power. It's the belief that somewhere outside of you there exists a force, a person, or a set of circumstances that will deliver your success. But that belief only feeds the lie that you are powerless, that your destiny is in someone else's hands. True power, real success, begins not in the external world, but deep within you. The moment you realize that everything you need is already inside of you, the strength, the resilience, the creativity, and the drive, you begin to free yourself from the illusion that the world owes you anything. This is not some grand revelation of external magic or cosmic intervention. This is a shift in perspective that places you at the center of your own story. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, spoke often of the power of the inner world. He understood that everything that matters, everything that shapes your experience, comes from within. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, he wrote. And this is where the truth lies. Your circumstances do not define you. Your reaction to them does. Your ability to control your mind, your choices, and your actions. That's where your power resides. Nietzsche echoed a similar sentiment, advocating for the cultivation of an inner fortress. He spoke of the Übermensch, the person who transcends their circumstances, their environment, and their dependence on others to realize their full potential. The Übermensch is not a passive observer of the world, waiting for the next wave of fortune to carry them to success. They are the active creators of their reality, standing firm in their autonomy, knowing that their path is forged through their own willpower. To rely on others, to hope for the help of external forces, is to surrender your own energy. It is to hand over your autonomy, your creative power, to something beyond your control. But when you look inward, When you trust your own resourcefulness, your ability to problem solve, to rise above adversity, you tap into a wellspring of strength that will never run dry. The more you rely on external sources for validation or assistance, the weaker you become. It's like giving away pieces of your own soul, hoping that someone else will fill the void. But no one else can do that. They may help you for a moment, but true, lasting success is the result of your own internal growth, your own internal resources. This doesn't mean rejecting the help of others, but rather understanding that you are the source of your own empowerment. The more you realize this, the less you seek external solutions. You stop waiting for permission, stop depending on luck, stop hoping for someone to come to your rescue. Instead, you look inward, dig deep, and act from a place of certainty that you have everything you need to succeed. The path to greatness does not lie in waiting. It lies in standing up and taking ownership of your journey, trusting yourself, and realizing that no one else can walk your path for you. The world may provide opportunities, but it is you who must seize them. The real secret to success is realizing that you have already been given all the tools you need. The question is, will you begin to use them? There is a quiet power in taking responsibility for your own life. It is the cornerstone of personal transformation, yet so many of us hesitate to claim it. We spend countless hours blaming others, circumstances, or even the universe itself for our failures. But here's the truth. As long as you are pointing fingers, you are relinquishing control over your life. You are giving away your power, your ability to change, and your potential to grow. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, knew this better than anyone. He constantly reminded himself that external events are beyond his control, but his reactions to them were entirely his responsibility. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, he wrote. If you are constantly consumed with blame, your thoughts will breed resentment and victimhood, and this will never lead you to greatness. Take a moment and think about it. When you blame someone or something for your failure, you hand over the narrative of your life to them. You make your success or failure dependent on forces outside of yourself. But the power to reshape your life lies within you, in the way you respond, the choices you make, and the actions you take. No one else can dictate your path unless you allow them to. Nietzsche spoke of the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. It is the profound acceptance that everything, even the challenges and mistakes, is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a chance to learn, to evolve, and to become stronger. The minute you stop blaming others and start taking full ownership of your journey, you move from victimhood to empowerment. You see mistakes not as dead ends, but as lessons carved into the very fabric of your existence. The psychological truth is this: blaming others is a defense mechanism. It shields us from the uncomfortable reality that we have the power to change, but that requires effort, honesty, and vulnerability. If we admit that we are responsible, we face the hard truth that we must act, change, and grow. It's far easier to blame the world, but it doesn't lead to growth. It leads to stagnation. By taking responsibility, you reclaim your power. You stop living in the shadow of other people's decisions and start becoming the architect of your own life. You learn to see each failure as a stepping stone, each obstacle as an opportunity for resilience. You understand that your future is not determined by the actions of others, but by how you respond to the world around you. This shift is not easy. It requires you to let go of the comforting illusion that you are a victim of circumstance. It demands you to face the uncomfortable reality that everything in your life is the result of your decisions, and that you have the power to change your decisions, and thus your life. The world doesn't owe you anything, But the moment you stop blaming and start taking ownership, the world opens up to you in ways you never imagined. You begin to see your mistakes not as failures, but as the essential components of your evolution. It is within this transformation, in the acceptance of your responsibility, that true power lies. There's a seductive comfort in constant learning, isn't there? The books, the courses, the seminars, they promise wisdom, mastery, and success. Yet, in the quiet corners of your life, they often become little more than fleeting distractions, momentary escapes from the deeper discomfort of real action. You believe that by consuming more knowledge, you are somehow moving forward, but in reality, you are standing still, forever gathering more pieces to a puzzle you'll never put together. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, would caution you against this tendency. He believed that true wisdom isn't measured by the amount of knowledge you possess, but by how well you apply that knowledge in the day-to-day struggles of life. The world is a stage, not a classroom, and every theory you learn without testing it in practice is nothing but an idle fantasy. Marcus didn't ask, "What do I know?" He asked, "What am I doing with what I know?" This is where many of us falter. We study endlessly, fill our minds with ideas and frameworks, but when it comes time to act, we hesitate, we stall. The truth is that action, imperfect, flawed, and often painful, is the only thing that moves the needle in life. Without it, even the most profound knowledge is simply entertainment for the mind, not a tool for transformation. Nietzsche, in his quest for the Übermensch, the overman, or the one who transcends ordinary existence, would not tolerate this passive accumulation. To him, it is not enough to simply know or even to believe. One must create from that knowing, transform from that belief. You are not here to merely learn for the sake of learning, but to forge your path, to sculpt reality from the raw material of your thoughts. Knowledge must lead to action, or it is nothing more than an illusion of progress. From a psychological perspective, this constant cycle of learning without doing feeds a deep insecurity within us. It's safer to stay in the comfortable space of theory, where nothing is tested, nothing risks failure. It's easier to imagine yourself as someone who is preparing rather than someone who is acting. But the paradox is this: the real learning comes only through doing. When you step into action, you meet the world as it is, not as it's portrayed in books, and in that confrontation, you begin to grow. Every mistake you make, every misstep, is a deeper lesson than any book could offer. Real growth happens in the chaos of the battlefield of life, not in the safety of a lecture hall. You can read about courage, but only when you face your fears will you truly understand its nature. You can learn about discipline, but it is in the quiet moments of resistance that you will master it. Theoretical knowledge is like a map to a destination, but it is only through walking the path that you truly learn the landscape, the hidden challenges, and the richness of the journey. You are not here to merely accumulate information. You are here to live it. Your life is your practice, your true learning ground. Stop hiding behind the illusion of preparation and start doing. Act on what you know, no matter how small the step. You'll find that, in the doing, the knowledge you once hoarded will come to life in ways you never imagined. Only then will the learning cease to be a comfort and begin to be the force that propels you toward greatness. We often fall into the trap of believing that wealth is something out there, a random stroke of fate, an opportunity that comes only to the lucky few. The truth, however, is much more unsettling. Wealth, true wealth, is not a chance occurrence. It is not the product of circumstance, but rather of deliberate, calculated steps. Those who achieve it do not wait for fortune to knock at their door. They create the conditions for their own success. They understand that, like the Stoics, life is not something that happens to you. It is something you shape with your own hands. Marcus Aurelius, in his reflections, often spoke of the need to take control of one's own actions, for it is only through deliberate choice that we truly make our lives. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he wrote. This is the key. Wealth is not the result of something outside your control. It is the manifestation of the internal decisions, discipline, and vision you create. There is no luck in this process, no external force pulling the strings. Success is a construct of your own making, and it begins with a shift in how you perceive your role in this world. Nietzsche's philosophy of becoming, of creating the self through one's own efforts, perfectly captures the essence of this shift. To the Übermensch, the higher being, the path is not laid out by society, by fate, or by luck. It is forged through action, through overcoming resistance, through setting bold intentions, and taking responsibility for the results. The rich do not wait for riches to fall into their laps. They craft them as the sculptor shapes the statue, each strike of the chisel a decision, a step towards the final form. Psychologically, the belief that wealth is something external, something that just happens to some people and not to others, keeps you chained to a passive mindset. This idea strips you of the agency that you possess, the ability to shape your own future. Instead of taking responsibility for your actions, your choices, and the way you interact with the world, you remain stuck in a waiting game. A game that only serves to perpetuate your own limitations. True wealth is the result of repeated, disciplined actions that compound over time. It is the accumulation of small, intelligent steps, savings, investments, decisions to learn, to act, to build. It is not a lottery ticket, but a process that requires strategy, planning, and execution. The wealthy think long-term. They do not look for instant gratification, and they certainly do not expect to be handed anything. They actively create opportunities, recognizing that the world around them is not some neutral force. It is a reflection of their own inner mindset, their own choices. If you want to move from thinking about wealth as something that happens by accident to seeing it as the byproduct of purposeful action, you must change your belief system. You must stop viewing success as an external gift and start seeing it as the natural result of your internal transformation. Stop blaming the world for your current state and take full responsibility for what is yet to come. The power to create the life you desire, to accumulate the wealth you seek, lies within you. It always has. So, the next time you think about success, don't look outside yourself for answers. Look within. Ask yourself, what deliberate, intentional steps am I taking today that will shape my future? Because it is not luck that will lead you to wealth. It is your own hand, steadily carving a path forward. Stop seeing money as the end goal. Wealth is not the destination. It is the means to a far greater end. To be fixated on money itself is to misunderstand its true purpose. It is nothing more than a tool, a vehicle that propels you toward the realization of your deeper desires and values. Think for a moment about what you truly want to create in this world. Money, that is simply the means by which you can manifest your deeper vision. The world doesn't need more people chasing after wealth for wealth's sake. It needs more people who understand that what they truly seek is far beyond the currency in their pockets. As Marcus Aurelius taught, what we do now echoes in eternity. This applies to how we choose to engage with money. The pursuit of wealth in itself is a hollow endeavor, unless it is aligned with something larger, something of substance. The riches you amass will pass, but the legacy you leave, the lives you impact, the ideas you bring into being, the creations you make, these are eternal. Wealth, when used correctly, is nothing but a tool for achieving these deeper goals. To confuse the means with the end is to live in a constant state of dissatisfaction, always running, but never reaching a true destination. Nietzsche warned against living without purpose, without a sense of direction. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, he wrote. What is your why? Money should never be the reason you wake up in the morning. It should never be the driving force behind your actions. It is merely the fuel that keeps the fire of your true purpose burning. Your true desires, whether it is to create art, build a business, or change the world in some meaningful way, are what give you the strength to keep going. Money is a tool that allows you to build that world, but it is never the reason for its existence. Psychologically, when you view wealth as the ultimate goal, you disconnect yourself from your deeper values. You risk becoming a slave to the very thing you sought to master. Wealth becomes your master, and your life becomes about acquisition, hoarding, and comparison. But when you focus on your values, on what truly matters, money no longer has the power to dominate your mind. It becomes a neutral force, a resource to be used, not something that dictates your behavior or your sense of self-worth. The most successful and fulfilled people are not those who focus solely on the accumulation of wealth, but those who understand that money is simply a means to an end. It is the vehicle through which they manifest their ideas, create meaningful change, and contribute to the world. The moment you realize this, the moment you understand that money is simply a tool and not the end goal, you will begin to shift your entire approach to life. You will stop chasing wealth for its own sake and start using it to build a life that truly reflects your deepest desires. So ask yourself, what do you truly want to create? What is the greater vision that calls to you? Money will follow when you focus on that vision, but it will never be the vision itself. As we close this journey, remember, the path to success isn't about chasing wealth for wealth's sake, nor is it about relying on external forces to shape your destiny. It's about taking control of your choices, aligning your actions with your true values, and understanding that the power to create the life you desire is already within you. Trust in your own strength and know that every step you take toward your vision brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Keep moving forward.